Y'all, I am so happy that I learned to love myself. And the tears you see right here, right now, they're not tears of sadness. What they are is tears of joy, because I'm remembering the person that I used to be, and I'm so happy I'm not that person anymore. And let me share with you this. I used to struggle with loving myself. I really did. I struggled a lot with loving myself. And I didn't know that I was struggling with loving myself. If you would have asked me at the time, you know, throughout my 20s, throughout my teen years, even through my early 30s, you know, I'm now 34, going on 35 now. So learning to love myself has been somewhat of a new thing within the last couple of years. But if you would have asked myself, you know, do you love yourself? I would have been like, oh yeah, I love myself. And what I had to realize was that I liked parts of myself, but I didn't truly love myself. And the proof was in the pudding. When you looked at the types of relationships I was in, I was constantly in bad relationships. And this is one of the things I know to be true, is that how we choose our partners and how we allow people to treat us is a direct reflection of how we view and value ourselves. And so if you look at my past relationships, the way that I viewed and valued myself was not very positive at all. I was always in relationships, it was seen with people who frankly did not value me at a very high level. I felt like in a lot of cases that I was not a priority for them. I was an option. You know, I was in abusive relationships sometimes. I was in relationships where I was constantly pouring more into them than they were pouring into me. You know, I kind of put the health of the relationship on my back. It was like, this relationship ain't working, I'm going to be the one to make it work. Or if something's falling apart, it's going to be me to fix it. You know, and I did that because I now know, like looking backwards, I was doing that because I didn't love myself enough to know that I deserved to be with somebody who was going to pour into me and pour into our relationship at the same level that I was pouring into it. And that it was, and that I could have a good man without having to build him first. You see what I'm saying? Because I used to be Bob the Builder, always trying to build a man. And it was because I didn't love myself enough to know that I deserved more than a man who wasn't ready for me. You know, if you looked at the thoughts that I thought to myself about myself, that was really where you saw my poor self-esteem and my lack of self-love come out most. Because, I mean, I was constantly tearing myself apart. I was constantly, you know, second guessing my choices. I was constantly living in self-doubt. I would have a goal, have a dream, have a vision, and I would go after it. But then the minute that somebody would tell me it was a bad idea, I would back off of it. Why? Because I didn't love myself, and I didn't value my own thoughts enough to say, you know what? No, I trust me more than I trust you. You know, and the voice in my head is more powerful and more accurate than the voices in your head talking to you about me. I'm the resident expert on me, but because I didn't love and value myself enough, I was constantly taking other people's opinions of my life and other people's opinions of me as gold, which leads on to another area. Probably one of the hardest areas that affected me when I was struggling with my own self-love was really that I would let other people's perceptions of me completely tear me down and tear me apart. Now, let me tell you this, okay? None of us are made of titanium. None of us are perfect. You know, all of us, I don't care how strong you are, all of us are susceptible to being able to be impacted by what other people may say about us. But here's the key, right? Because I didn't have a high level of self-love for myself, I constantly would allow myself to continue to be exposed to people who had negative things to say, who always had something critical to say, who never had any positive feedback from me, who was saying, baby, I'm just sharing this with you in love. I was always letting myself be exposed to those people, not understanding that true self-love is when you cut off exposure from people who are not feeding you. I was letting myself be exposed to those kinds of people, and I was letting them tear me down constantly. In some cases, my mind was so caught up and in not knowing how to truly love and value myself that I would call those very people up to get their opinions. You know, sometimes it was family members, sometimes it was friends. I'm like, hey, I'm trying this new thing. What do you think? Knowing good and well that they historically have always had something negative. They've always had something that wasn't empowering. They've always had something to say to me that really didn't uplift me. But I would call them up because I didn't trust my own opinions and trust my own self and trust my own intuition and my own connection to my creator. I didn't trust that enough to listen to me first. So I always thought I need to get opinions from other people. And because my self-esteem was not high, because how can you have a high self-esteem when you're struggling with loving yourself? Because my self-esteem was not high, what I would do was I would subconsciously, and I want you to hit the thumbs up or comment below, do something, baby, if you know that you've done this too or that you're currently doing this, because transparency will free you, okay? What I would do is I would seek out the opinions of people who I knew would say something negative about me or say something that really wasn't empowering, because what I was doing was I was seeking out a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's one of the things that we do when we don't fully have a strong level of confidence in ourselves, we don't have a strong level of self-love, is that we will seek out experiences and people and relationships and dynamics that will fulfill the prophecy within our own mind, that will fulfill that within our own mind and support that within our own mind that's already telling us, you don't know, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't make good choices, you never know the right thing to do, you always doing this wrong, you always doing this. We seek out things that continue to perpetuate that same thought within our mind, you know. And for me, I didn't realize that I was doing it, that really and truly the thing that was at the root of my lack of self-love was the choices I was making, the choices I was making about who I allowed to have access to me, the choices I was making about the thoughts that I told myself about myself, the thoughts that I was, the thoughts that I would pour into myself on a daily basis. And for me, the most critical change that happened in my life that allowed me to change my relationship with myself was when I finally got honest with myself and owned for myself. Listen, baby, your relationship with yourself is not perfect. It's damaged. It's broken. I had to own that for myself. I had to stop blaming, you know, my negative self-esteem on, oh, I'm just hurt because that person hurt me. I had to stop blaming, you know, the emotional challenges that I was having with loving myself and my self-esteem on, oh, I feel this way because of what happened in the past with the abuse that happened to me. I had to stop blaming everybody else around me and own for myself. No, the person at the root of it is you. It's me. I'm the person who's continuing to think the same thoughts about myself. I'm the person who's continuing to tell myself the same stories about myself over and over and over and over and over again that are not empowering myself. I had to own the fact that I was the one who was pouring poison into me on a daily basis, and it was starting with my thoughts. That is literally how I started to love myself. That's literally how I changed my relationship with myself, was when I changed the thoughts that I was telling myself about myself. Every single morning, people ask me, and you know, MJ, what is your like morning routine? You know, what meditations do you do and everything like that? And I sometimes struggle with sharing that with people because they change on a regular basis. And the things that I pour into myself on a daily basis are tailored for me. What you need to pour into yourself is different. It's going to be tailored for you, okay? But I'm going to tell you something I did which helps me. Now, y'all got to watch out because I'm just wearing these little drawers, okay? Hold on, okay? Where's my little thing at? I'm going to show you. Oh, here it is right here. Okay? I'm in Japan right now, okay? So let me show you what I do. Okay? Where's the little pin at? Hold on. I swear to y'all, I'm not just trying to have my booty in your face. I want to show you this thing that I do, which really helps me, okay? So what I started doing on a daily basis is this. This is my sheet from this morning. I just did it. What I do is, and I want you to get a sheet of paper and do the same thing, all right? Because this is how you can start loving yourself and changing your self-esteem. I want you to think of 3 negative things that go through your mind about yourself that happen, that you say to yourself. I don't care if it's daily, I don't care if it just happens every now and then, but 3 of the most prominent negative things you say to yourself about yourself. Let's start with one that I used to tell myself all the time, right? Let's start with this. I am not good enough. You write this on a sheet of paper, right? Now my handwriting is terrible, but you can see I wrote that on a sheet of paper right here. I'm not good enough, all right? Then what you want to do is leave a little space below that, right? Then write the next thing. What's the next thing you think to yourself? Let's pick another one. I'll go with the relationship stuff. I don't have good relationships with men, right? Because I mean, that was something I used to tell myself a lot, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna be single forever, you know? I would find men, the relationships fall apart. I find a man, he end up being abusive. I find a man, he, you know, is emotionally unavailable and self-involved. So you wrote those things out right here, right? That's what you do, you write them and you space them out. Then below them, what you do is you write something that's the direct opposite of that thing, something that directly counters it. So for example, I'm not good enough. What would I write below that? I would write below that, I am perfectly made, right? I am a reflection of my God. I write something that's the direct opposite below it. Now here's the thing that I first wrote, I'm not good enough, what I do is I then scratch that out. Same thing right here. I don't have good relationships with men. No, that's not true. I do have good relationships with men. I have good relationships with healthy men. And the reality is that I historically were picking emotionally unhealthy men. I was picking men who were directly at the level of growth and maturity emotionally that I was at. So with that said, the more healthy I become, the better the men I pick. And the better the men I pick, the better relationships I have. That's the way it goes, right? So not that I don't have good relationships with men, I have bad relationships with emotionally unhealthy men. Let's start there, okay? So that's what I write in here. That's a little long, but I would say, I pick emotionally healthy men, right? I write that in here. Now that I've written that in here below, I cross out the one that says I don't have healthy relationships with men. So what I would encourage you to do is what I had to do. I literally sit there and I write out every negative thing that may be going through my mind about myself. And I just write them out, unfiltered. I don't hold nothing back. And then right below it, I write something positive that's the direct opposite of it, right? What I'm doing is I'm changing my self-talk, okay? I'm gonna tell you this, okay? It is so simple to learn to start loving yourself. It is so simple to boost your self-esteem, but it starts with you being directly honest with yourself about the shitty things that you're telling yourself about yourself, the things that you're pouring into yourself that are not helpful. Get those things out of your head by putting them on paper. Put them on paper, and then right below each of those things, write something that's the direct opposite that directly counters that thought. And then, like I said, cross out all the negative things that you wrote. Because then once you do that, what you got left over is a list of positive affirmations. And what I would do literally, and I still do this, in the mornings, I go in the mirror and I read those things off to myself, all those positive things. I'm sitting in the mirror talking to myself, saying, I have a healthy relationship with myself, and I attract nothing but healthy relationships. I'm saying to myself, you know, I am abundant in every single way, shape, or form, and anyone who seeks to limit me is a person who has no space within my life. Telling myself that I am amazing, I am wonderful, I am worthy, and anyone who seeks to tell me anything different or to treat me any less will have no place in my life, and I will swiftly remove them from my life. I am pouring those things into myself on a daily basis. I'm girding myself up so that when I go out into the world and I'm dealing with challenges, because let me tell you this, just because you decide to start loving yourself and you decide to change your relationship with yourself, that don't mean everybody around you going to change. Let's just start there, okay? So for me, by me pouring these things into myself, literally what it does is for me, it's just girding me up so that when I'm out there in the world and I'm dealing with these other people who may challenge those thoughts, who may treat me like the old me, because that's all they know is the old me. They haven't been acquainted with the new me just yet, or for long enough. So they still trying to treat me like I'm the old me. What that does is I've girded myself up to be able to say, okay, you're doing that, but what I know to be true about myself based on what I've affirmed into myself this morning during my meditation, during my prayers, is completely different than what you're dealing with, than what you're trying to put on me, okay? So So that's you, baby, and I don't have to deal with it. The thing is this, we get caught up in other people's bullshit. We get caught up in other people's stuff when we don't know our own value. So for me, what I'm doing on a daily basis in order to uplift myself, in order to affirm my self-love, in order to boost my self-esteem, is I'm literally pouring things into myself that is really redefining my relationship with myself and redefining how I view myself. So that if you treat me in a way that's less than what I desire or deserve, what I know is you're not treating me in this way. You're treating your perception of me in this way, because the real me, who I know myself to be, is not who you talking to like this. You're not talking to me like this. You're not treating me like this, boo-boo, okay? And because you're dealing with the figment of your imagination. You're not dealing with the me that I built myself up to be. Because I know that, what I then can do is cut off interactions with you at that point in time. What I then can do is correct you and say, no, not today. I'm not dealing with that today. See, that doesn't work for me, because here's what how I deserve to be treated, and here's my boundary. I can set boundaries, and if you don't want to set my boundaries, I can walk about your life, okay? Because I have the power and strength within myself, because of the fact that I've already poured into myself every single morning to let myself know who I am. I'm going to tell you another thing you can do, all right? You do this exact same thing before you go to bed, okay? Because sometimes a lot of y'all are struggling in the morning. You wake up where you feel like you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. Well, it's because you went to bed last night with anxiety on your heart, thinking about everything you done wrong, everything you don't like about yourself, all these different things. And so you go to bed up under anxiety, up under pain, up under all these negative thoughts, and then you wonder why you wake up in the morning feeling like you just ate a bag of thumbtacks. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you just be mad in the morning, mad at world, mad at life, sad about life. It's because you didn't pour into yourself before bed. So for me, that's another thing that I had to start doing, was I would literally do this before bed at night. I'm gonna pour all the positivity into me at bed. Okay, and then in the morning when I wake up, I pour it back into myself, and then I'll even keep these little sheets of paper with me in my bag, in my pocket, so that if I ever have a moment during the day, I will step up. I'm good for stepping out and going into a bathroom and like, hold on, let me read my list. Okay, I'm perfectly and wonderfully made. Or somebody treat me bad, somebody treat me in a way like, you know, trying to do the whole okey doke on me and trying to be nasty to me. I go into the bathroom, step aside, I'm like, okay, I am not other people's perception of me. I am perfectly and wonderfully made. I am loving. I am kind. I'm not trying to beat this bitch's ass today, because that's what I would have done in the past, but I'm above that shit these days. I pour that shit back into myself, right? It helps so much. So when I'm sitting here right now, and I'm glad I'm not crying anymore, because I was crying a bunch earlier. When I sit here right now, I feel so much joy, because I see how rapidly my life has changed from making the conscious choice on a daily basis to pour positivity within myself. That's all I'm telling you to do, is pour positivity in yourself. If you're a Christian, fine. Make this a part of your prayer life, baby, okay? You make this a part of your prayer life. You know, use these positive affirmations. Use it as a part of your prayers. If you Buddhist, then use it as a part of your chants. If you atheist, then shoot, just pour this into yourself. I don't care what your religion is. What I'm telling you is this, is that your relationship with yourself is going to be directly built on the stories you tell yourself about yourself. So if we know that to be true, then let's make a conscious effort on a daily basis to tell ourselves nothing but positive things about ourselves, so that we can gird ourselves up to then walk out a positive, loving life. If you do that, what I can tell you right now is that whatever self-esteem issues you may have, whatever issues you have with self-love, they're going to go away very quickly. So if you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button, and then what I want you to do is comment below this video, and I want you to say at least 1 to 3 things that you love about yourself, something positive. I don't care what it is, baby. Comment below and do that, and then click the share button so that other people can see this. Have a good one, folks. Bye-bye.